Okay, here are the rules. You have 1 week to build a mock based on The Last of Us. Could be a video game, could be the show. You can build it in real life, or you can build it digitally. If you build it digitally, you do not have to use existing colors or parts. While I'm not going to ask you to do any sort of structural stability study on your digital models, you should make an effort to only use connections that are physically possible. Now, here's the twist. I've randomly chosen 3 seed parts that will need to be present in every single model. The parts can be used in any color. You can hide them away. They can be hidden completely within your model. However, there will be a bonus point for the most clever use of the 3 pieces. Here are the 3 parts. First, a spring-loaded shooter bolt. Second, the One Ring from Lord of the Rings. Third, a ball-end tow hook. And with that, that's all the rules. Alright, everybody got the rules?
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes, sir.
Alright, let's get building.
Gonna need to be taking you. So after about 10 minutes of trying to figure out the characters, I got these 4. I thought, you know what, I'll just use my classic zombies from the series 1. Took the, you saw that happen. You saw me take the head off. Ellie, and I actually do not know the character's name. That's how little I know about fucking The Last of Us. So, yeah, I think I kind of got an idea down. So now let's build what I plan to build.
Okay, so I struggled to figure out what to build. I think that what I want to do, this shot of Austin as they're walking down the street towards the state house that isn't really the state house, in sort of micro scale. I think I'll have a micro scale state house in the back, and then build sort of like a perspective build looking down this street. And I don't know how well it's going to work. I'm thinking maybe this stuff up front will be basically minifigure scale, and then everything will get like slightly smaller as you get further away from the front of the scene. I'm not convinced this is going to work.
Hey guys, it's Brendan. My first update for my mock. This update I'm pretty much just going to go over my plan of what I'm going to be building. So I'm going to be basing my build off of this specific scene from the 4th episode where they get to this little bridge area. And basically what I want to do is I'm not going to be building this entire thing, but rather I think I'm going to be cutting it off like right here, right before the middle part, and doing this section. So I'll have this bit of hill here and then most of this underpass area. And the reason for that is I want to include detailing inside of the tunnel, and if I put this wall here, you're not going to be able to see it. So I think removing this will allow for me to include more stuff in there that will actually be visible rather than just hidden by a wall. And then in front, obviously I'll have the road kind of coming out and have a lot of the cars there, and may or may not include the truck that they're driving in the episode. I'm not really sure yet. And then I want to include something that's kind of on top. Again, not really sure yet. Just kind of some post-apocalyptic scenery, I guess. So yeah, that's pretty much my plan for what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to start building, and then I'll come back with another update once I have some progress.
What's up guys, it's AWM here, and today I'm going to start building my mock based on The Last of Us TV series. My build's going to be based on the intro sequence in which we can see all the fungus growing around the title card. I really like the way that looks, and I think that it will translate well into an art set. I'm going to base it around the same style as like the Elvis, Iron Man type art sets, not like the Great Wave or anything like that. I do want it to be fairly flat. I don't want anything super 3D, but I do want to try and imitate some depth in some manner by making maybe the letters like tiled off and the background will be studded, and then whatever part we end up using, like the fancy part that we go with, I'm going to have to throw that in there somehow. But I'm really excited to start, and yeah, let's get to it.
Hey everyone, Andy here with the first update to my Last of Us mock. What I think I'm going to be doing is kind of a crossover mock between The Last of Us and The Mandalorian, 2 shows coming out this winter that star Pedro Pascal. And essentially what I'm thinking is that half of the mock is going to be The Last of Us world with The Mandalorian in it, and then the other half is going to be The Mandalorian world with Joel in it. So it's kind of going to be like a body swap type thing where the Pedro Pascal characters swap worlds. And then I think I'm going to put a Doctor Strange portal in the middle just because, you know, it would add to it and I think it would be funny. So that's what we're going to do.
Alright, it is Squidman here with the first official, not update, but just a first official little look into my mock that I am planning. So I just drew a little sketch. It's not very good, but ignore that. The scene that I'm just going to be depicting is going to be the museum scene from episode 2, where Tess, Ellie, and Joel all walk up to the museum and go through it as a little detour. It's just going to be a little vignette mock, about 16 by 16 is the idea. I drew up the museum here. It's just going to be the facade. There'll be no interior. And it's just going to be covered in a bunch of shrubbery and make it look somewhat run down. And then just a little tree to add more greenery. And then down here right in front, this weirdly colored stick figure will be the infected. And I just added like mushrooms and dirt. And that'll be the general look with the figures. And yeah, that's about my first idea sketch. And I will see you in the first official update.
Okay, so this is what I got for the State House. I think that this looks pretty decent for what it is. I don't know how this is going to work with everything else that I want to do, but I guess I have something. I do like the use of the printed windows. I think that was a clever idea by me. And I think the shaping is overall right. I'm not convinced by the colors of the plants yet that it changed. But the State House itself, I think that looks decent.
All right, this is the currently what I have based off what I've started with. The whole idea is I wanted to do the sort of decrepit nature. I'm gonna have this sort of like, because it's like the spores or whatever, it's just have it kind of like leak down into the streets, and then there's gonna be the building, not too much of a building, but like the one floor with the roof, and then just kind of have like I have like this pillar sort of piece kind of set there. So I plan to have the building kind of look like it's the sort of skyscraper sort of thing, and then at the road I have it kind of curved off here, and I'm gonna leaving these studs open so I could possibly just put whatever in the street, because that's just, you know, how it is. So yeah, we'll see how this keeps continuing, and I think it's going to be nice.
Alright, so I've been hard at work building up the main structure of the tunnel/bridge thing. Nothing too exciting so far, just a lot of stacking bricks and some foliage here, but something that is exciting that I've spent a lot of time on is this "We the People" phrase that is spray painted onto this wall. This is something we see in, I believe, the 5th episode, and I just thought it would be kind of cool to have it here, just adding some extra detail to this otherwise plain wall. Other than that, not much else, just again a lot of stacking bricks and structural support, but I will come back with another update once I've made more progress.
Hey guys, it's Andy back here with my second update. So far I am about 75% complete with the Last of Us diorama side of my mock, and the Mandalorian side I have just barely started so far. Just added some rudimentary control panels and stuff. So the Mandalorian side is going to be the prison break from season 1 episode 6, and the Last of Us side is the laundromat scene from season 1 episode 4, where Joel kills this guy Brian, who offers his knife, and Ellie picks up the gun and shoots him but doesn't kill him. And there's also the little hole that Ellie hides inside of right here. And so I kind of just went for a rundown laundromat look. It has some of the fungus, even though that's not particularly accurate to the scene. I don't believe there was fungus there. I decided to add it just to emphasize that it is The Last of Us. And you can see some of the tiles are kind of run down. We got a can going down there and some tires here even. And so I want to add some more details to kind of make it look post-apocalyptic, but I'm pretty happy with how it's looking so far.
Alright guys, so it is now the next day here. I've been working on this model for quite a while now. You can see that the E and the F are missing like 2 of the lines right there. They are in the base because I'm going to have to offset them a little bit. But I initially anticipated this mock being no larger than like the Elvis or the Iron Man set, and it ended up being a little bit larger. It uses one more 16 by 16 plate on both sides. So instead of being like a 3 by 3 of those 16 by 16 plates, it is now a 4 by 4 of those same plates. It's not that much larger, but it is bigger than I anticipated it being because I needed more space to work around how I wanted to shape the letters. And I think it works out better this way. I'm going to have more room to work with shaping it. I'm not entirely happy with how the A looks just yet. There's not much else I can do about it unless I scale up again, which I don't want to do. Plus, I've already put so much time into how it looks now that I don't really feel like I want to start all over again. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it overall. I do have some more work to do with the base plate. I haven't even started like the fungus yet, so I'm going to start working on the fungus. I'm going to actually place the letters into the plate here. You can see some like white lines and stuff. Those are just like guide marks to where I know where the center is, but otherwise I'm going to work around that. I'm going to start the fungus, I am still going to have to include those mandatory pieces that Andy chose for us. It's not really going to work out too well because this is a more 2D space. I might cheat a little bit. I might actually, if you flip this around here, you can see there's some like cavities in the base plates. I might hide some of those pieces in there just so that I don't have to have them protruding on the exterior of the MOC. But otherwise, I'm going to try and include as many of them as I can on the surface so that they can be seen. And yeah, I'm going to stop rambling now. I'm going to get back to work here, and I will hit you guys up with another clip when I feel ready.
So it is Squidman here with my first official update. I have just finished the base so far. It looks pretty good so far. I am very pleased with this tree. I just wrapped around this like rubber type wire piece, and I think it looks quite good, surprisingly. And I left these studs open, so this is probably where I'm going to connect some fungus pieces. And then these are the stairs to the door of the museum. And then this is kind of where I mapped it out, where I'm just going to build up from there. But overall, it looks pretty good. I just added some foliage to make it look oldish. So overall, I'm quite happy with it, and we'll see the next update looks like.
Quick part 2, we're rolling up on about 9 p.m. The base is kind of down. I edited the top so it kind of slopes down. I'm gonna kind of make a little path, the fungus up at the top. But yeah, basically I'm gonna build up the wall now. And then my idea with the chain is I want it to just be hanging down inside the building. I want it to just be hanging. And the, what's it called? The stud shooter, I'm gonna turn into a lamp post that's gonna go either here or there. Figure that out when it comes to it. Probably there, so it sticks right into the bang and it doesn't adjust. The ring, I was thinking of putting it somewhere inside for decoration. So yeah, stage 2. It's going well.
Alright, back for another update. I've been working a lot on the top area here, and I decided to put a road here, just because that's what I kind of assumed would be on top of a structure like this. I don't know if this is actually accurate or not, but it's what I decided to do. And I used a technique of just bricks on their side here. I think that's the best way to do a road personally. And I've included some, discoloration and foliage and stuff just to give it that kind of post-apocalyptic vibe. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna start working on the hill section over here now, probably.
Okay, so, bit of an update since last time. Made some progress. We have this truck, which is heavily based off that one Jurassic World set. Not completely done with that. It's kind of work in progress. But we started to construct these skyline on the side. Kind of happy with the leaves on this building. Drawing around the side of the top corner. This second building I'm not done with. I'm happy with it, but I think this may be the fastest and easiest way to do it. Just because it don't need to really care about the back. Like the scaling between them works kind of well. Kind of have to get this angle to be what looks good. So I do have to figure out if this is going to be a long enough span in the depth direction, and hopefully I'll be able to make it get convincingly smaller perspective wise. But I'm gonna build the skyline on the side first, and then hopefully structure everything else around that.
All right, so update number 3, I have pretty much finished the Last of Us side now, and I've also incorporated the first of the 3 required pieces, which is this hook. I think the other 2 should be pretty easy to find a spot in there as well. I'm also thinking of expanding the MOC back a few studs back here and kind of having a back area, because on this side there's going to be a prison cell on the New Republic ship, and on this side you have the little hole that Ellie climbs into. So I'm thinking about doing a little area back here where I just expand it back like 3 or 4 studs. But I'm gonna finish the Mandalorian side first, which I've already started doing the ground for a little bit, and then I'm gonna see where I'm at after that. But overall right now I'm really happy with the Last of Us side. I think I'm pretty proud of it.
Alright, so it's now day 3 of having designed this model. I actually finished it last night. I just didn't get a chance to do the update until now. I did all the renders and everything like that. It didn't take too terribly long to put together, actually. A lot of the designing process just went into designing the letters, which I'm fairly happy with how they turned out, except for the letter A in the word last. I think that looks a little bit too broad compared to everything else, but I couldn't fix that unless I upscaled everything, which I did not want to do. Other than that, it was pretty simple to put together. It was a lot of copying and pasting of certain pieces, particularly the round tiles I used for the background gradient, and it went together pretty fast other than that. There's not much else I can say about it. It's just a flat wall piece, and there's not much else to it. So yeah, that's the build.
Squidman back here with yet another update, and I ended up doing most of the museum front of it. Everything so far has come out pretty good. The only thing which looks good is the doors, but they're not held in, they're just kind of sitting there. As you can see, it just kind of falls apart, but it'll look good once it's done. Next, I need to just find a bunch more of these ingots and then clean that up, and then I'm gonna add a bunch more foliage. Hopefully I can fix the little gaps there by the door, or by the frame above the door. That'll look better. And then the back, it doesn't look pretty, but it doesn't need to. And then for the roof, I ended up building everything upside down, and it's just going to attach on the top with these jumpers in there. So hopefully that'll work, and then I will finish it up, and I will see you hopefully in my final update.
Alright, back for another update. Excuse the messy desk, but I've started working on this hill here that's gonna kind of come up the side. And to start it off, I've used the net technique, which basically just involves using plates like this connected to a net piece. And that way, once you have it all connected, you can kind of bend the ground and flex it to get this kind of gradual slope up. And I think this looks really good. It is pretty part intensive, but I think it's worth it in the end to get a nice effect like that. I've added a bunch of kind of bushes along the wall here, and then some other foliage kind of coming along. And I think this is probably where I'll cut it off. I just don't want to have to do this going out a lot more. And then I think this leaves enough space here for the road and some cars. So yeah, just gotta work my way up over here, and then start working on the road after that.
All right, it's Andy back here again for update number 4. I have finished the front half, or not half, more like 2/3 of the Mandalorian side, where you can see I've included a custom Joel minifigure, as well as Bill Burr's character Mayfeld. You've got the prison door where the Twi'lek is inside of, so I'm going to try to include him in the back section there. You've also got a little hologram here, some control panels, and yeah, I also added this black bar to the front because I didn't really like the contrasting wall colors right at the front, and you can see there's a space back there to where I can include stuff. I did end up expanding the mock about 3 studs on the behind, so there's an extra little area there now. And yeah, I'm gonna fill in those back sections with details.
So as we slowly continue, I have the building sort of built out. I kind of have this whole sort of decrepit look to the building. I'm going to leave the walls sort of open so there's more access to kind of fit inside. Otherwise, like, it's just a small little room. So yeah, I've already used one of the pieces. I got the chain. I just kind of had it, I think that's a good way to do it. Just kind of have it just laying out there. And I'm going to put a lamp post right there. So we're going to try to build the lamp post. But yeah, it's currently coming out very nicely. And yeah, I liked how I did this, where it was like, oh, there would be a beam right here, but it fell off and it's kind of leaning up against the building because decrepit nature. And that's kind of the extent of the moss fungus kind of leaking out.
Okay, here we have buildings done. They look kind of plain, but they're really just supposed to work for this angle, basically. And I think for presentation, I might have to change the angle that it's gonna look down. Otherwise, if you look straight on, it looks kind of very flat, and you don't get as much of the perspective as I'd like. So I might do it slightly angled to one side. We got buildings over here. I think these are fine. They're acceptable for background stuff. I do have to do a lot more work to the ground in between them. I want to put another car over here. Obviously, I'm not going to have all of them because that would just be a giant mock, and I do not have time for that. This building over here, I think it's making progress. I wanted to have the top look like it's not really built because that's basically how it is in the reference image. I kind of want to add in some amount of plants to the top like this building has. So that's still to do. And then the other big thing is that building in front of this, which that one's going to be kind of hard because it is kind of a lot of visual presence in the image. So we will see how that works out. But I got to get that building done and then build up the ground in the middle as well as the car. So still a lot of work to do. I should probably need a couple trees.
Alright, back for another update. I finished up this hill area here. Pretty happy with it. I think it looks good. I like how I was able to blend the net technique from the last update with kind of just a more regular plate technique. I think that looks pretty good. Cool little detail I've included here is an infected buried in the ground. I thought this would just be kind of a fun little detail to add to like an otherwise kind of boring section, and it's accurate to the show, so I like that a lot. Next thing I'll do is build this road here, which was the last main thing, I guess, besides the cars. Already started to add a little bit of detail underneath, including the ring, which is one of the required pieces. And speaking of required pieces, I've included this little thing here, and this silver bit is the end of a spring-loaded shooter bolt, which is another one of the required pieces. I've kind of just embedded that in the road here as some like piping detail. So yeah, happy with that. I'm gonna start building on the road and then come back with another update.
Andy back here for update number 5. I've managed to include these ring pieces right here as little buttons or light indicators or something like that as one of the 3 required parts. And then the main thing I did was flesh out this back prison cell. You can see we have a toilet, a bed, and kind of a little table where there are some cans of something being stored. And I included these spring-loaded shooters underneath here as kind of like a fluorescent light type of thing. I don't know. These pieces are kind of hard to find a good usage for. And then finally, I've included a Twi'lek minifigure back here. And like I said in the last update, I did end up expanding it back 3 studs. And I started doing the detailing on the floor a little bit here, but I'm gonna add some more stuff back here just to make it feel a little more lived in. And then, yeah, I think after that, I'm gonna be pretty much done. So I'm pretty happy with how this is looking.
So after about 2 hours, I would say my mock is done. I finally put the figures down. I got the zombies kind of vibing. I got him, still don't know his name, looking out the binoculars. Ellie, she's vibing. I made the lamppost, and I thought this was a pretty cool method. I made the kind of the flick fire missile, or sit through it, and I put the little dome on the top, so it kind of just floats there, and it's a nice little, what's it called? So the other piece that was needed, the hook, made the hook line up, slide right underneath it, make it just be like part of the rubble, part of the garbage. And then as we flip it around, I organized the room to have a little bit of just like, this is their camp, this is where they're hanging out. And where's the last piece, you may ask? Golden ring is sitting right up in the backpack there. And yeah, I would say pretty successful. But wait, there's more. And now I'm actually finished because I actually sat there and said, you know what? I got a little extra time left tonight. I'm going to tile it out. And I also made the gold ring more easier to spot from the naked eye. So yeah, much kind of just looks nicer altogether. So yeah, that's my Last of Us mock without ever seeing The Last of Us. I hope it's not fucking F tier, but we move. Peace.
Alright, it is Squidman back here for the final update, or the final showcase of the mock. Everything is more or less perfect. It's done, it's completed. I added the figures, and I added all the foliage, and make sure to add the little special pieces in all 3 of them. So to start at the bottom, I ended up using the chrome gold ring for Ellie's flashlight. I think it works decently well, and then I kind of cheated with the hook behind Joel. It's hiding, but no one will know, and it's there. And I ended up using the Unkar's Brute Head for the infected. I think it works mildly well. It doesn't match up, but it'll work. And this is the official look at the back of it. It's not pretty. The only reason why I wanted to show it is I wanted to show that this is where I included the 2 spring-loaded shooters, the missiles specifically. I just used 2 flat silver ones to kind of represent bars, like they boarded it up. It's not accurate, but I had no clue how else to use them. And I wish I had more, but I only had 2 from the Trouble on Tatooine, so they will have to suffice. So that is all for my finished Last of Us mock. I think it came out well. I hope that you like it. I hope that it is just as good as all the other ones, if not better, maybe. I don't know. But yep, that is all.
Okay, so update. Added in the car, heavily based on the car for the Stranger Things set, because it looks like one of the cars, at least in the side was a police car, and it looks pretty similar to this, so I think this will work. It seems a little big, maybe slightly too wide, so I think I have to push back the side of buildings by a couple studs. So as you can tell, I didn't build up right at the back at all. I think it's built up enough that it would actually stay together if you built it, but honestly, you're probably not going to want to look at it from that angle ever. So yeah, I think we're gonna have to widen this just a bit. And then I also started messing around with the design for the last building. I'm not totally sold on it. I don't know if it's just because the clear color doesn't render well in studio, but I don't know. This is a little too wide for what I currently have on this side, so I'll probably push this out. I do want to have a lot of like surface area in the front for it to be able to cover it with lots of plants.
Alright, so the road is finished. Really happy with this. I think it looks really good. Use the same technique as up here of just stacking plates and bricks and then putting them on their side to get this kind of smooth surface. And I think it looks really good. So nothing really much else to say about it. I'm gonna probably build a few cars and then put the whole thing on like a black base, and then that'll probably be it.
Okay, good amount of progress since last update. I have fixed up this building in the back. It's a little more color variation across the pipes, tubes, and this building in front has been done. I'm not completely happy with it, but I think it's good enough for being in the background. The bottom floor is not good at all, but you're not really going to be able to see it. Also, these trees, heavy inspiration from Brendan. Added them in and they look really good. I think they help tie the whole thing together pretty well. Still more small trees to do in the back, or bushes or something, and then I'll probably do some on the sides of the State House. It's looking pretty decent so far. We got some stand-in figures for Ellie, Tess, and Joel, and yeah, I think it's kind of coming together.
Alright, it is Andy here with my final update, and I have completed my mock. All that I've done since the last update is added more detail in this last part here. I added an infected as another minifigure because what Last of Us mock is complete without some sort of zombie reference. And yeah, overall I'm really happy with this. If you want to see some high-res pictures, be sure to check out my Instagram. And yeah, thank you guys for watching this part of the video.
Alright guys, the mock is done. And here it is. I'm very happy with this, especially the cars here. That's something I added since the last episode or last update, and I think they look really good and really tie the whole thing together. I think before the mock was looking a little bit plain in a way, but I think these cars really spice it up and make it look really interesting. And another thing I added obviously are the figures here. We have Joel and of course Ellie, which in the actual episode she doesn't even leave the car in the scene, but since I wasn't going to include the car, I figured I'd just put her here because they didn't want to not include her. And she's got her backpack, her little gun there, and of course the joke book. As for the required pieces, I'll just go through where each of them are. Obviously the ring down there, saw last update, as well as the spring-loaded shooter bolt sticking out here. And then the hook is right over here. And I just kind of used it to represent just like a little bit of like trash that's been left behind on the roads. And I added a bit more of that throughout here, with this cardboard being a reference to Sam and Henry, because we see in episode 5, I want to say, we see Sam drawing on his little piece of cardboard, so I thought that'd be a cool little reference there. But yeah, other than that, not really much else to say that I haven't said before. I'm really proud of this build, and I think this whole video is really fun to do, so thank you guys for watching.
Okay, here we are. My mock. Final update. The overall street looks pretty good. This is all built on 260x16 base plates wide plus 2 2x2 plates. It ends up being 48x36. And we've got 2 rows of buildings. The backs are basically non-existent. They're just facades. And from the side, it's not going to look good at all. On the back, it's all one platform that was basically just there so I could build the sky. I'm actually pretty happy with the way the sky looks. I think it gets the cloudy background across pretty well. Zooming in, we have minifigures of Ellie, Tessa, and Joel walking down the street. We've got 2 cars. They're based on cars from sets and then kind of added things. Some trees and bushes. Obviously, the scene's edited down a bit, so some of the cars back there are gone. I didn't add in the street lamps. Maybe I should have, but kind of ran out of time. The center is the State House. Really accurate to the real State House in Boston, but it does look reasonably good compared to the show. As far as the 3 special parts, we have the hook piece used here as a tow hook on the back of the pickup truck. The ring is used right up here on top of the dome of the State House, on top of the lantern. This connection I don't think actually would be tight in real life, but I think it would sit there, so that counts. And we have the spring-loaded shooter bolt used up here at the very top of this tower as part of the scaffolding. But yeah, that's it. Actually pretty happy with the way this turned out. I think that the perspective honestly worked better than I thought it would. During this challenge. I was not very convinced. I was struggling to figure out how I was going to pull it off, but I think once I had the foliage and stuff in and really tied the whole landscape together, I think it came up pretty well. Welcome everyone to the award ceremony. We set out a poll and had people fill it out to rank all of our mocks, and we're gonna find out how everyone did. So
Hooray.
last up in 6th place, we have Andrew's vignette with a 6.1 out of 10.
Unsurprising.
So we all did pretty well if we all got over a 6.
I'll give you that.
Yeah. So nice work, Andrew, especially for how late in the game you joined.
Indeed.
We had a comment section in the poll, and I will say that several of the comments that people ended up leaving pertain to the fact that this was not from the game or show.
Okay. Yeah.
So fair, but I think it turned out pretty well.
Mhm.
In 5th place, we have Andy's Mandalorian crossover with a 6.4 out of 10. I personally thought this was very creative and an excellent idea.
So did I.
I do agree that it is maybe a little unfinished, and that's probably why it ranked a little lower. I will put a disclaimer that Andy did give me his renders in time, so maybe his image looked a little worse than everyone else's. But that's kind of on him. Next up, in 4th place, we have AWM with his title card, which I also thought was a really cool idea. Congratulations, AWM. In 3rd place, we have me with the Boston skyline. I actually, in particular, was pretty happy with the sky, and thank you to whoever suggested that, because that was a good idea.
I really like the trees. Those are my favorite part.
Yeah, I think they turned out really good.
The trees are
Especially
pretty
the
good.
ring on the lantern. I think the ring on the lantern was a really good part usage.
Ring on the lantern
I
was a good
agree.
part usage. Yeah, I agree too. Next up, in 2nd place, we have Squidman with his Boston building facade with an 8.3 out of 10.
Nice,
I'm
nice.
honored.
Congratulations, Squidman. I thought the dark red on this building worked very well.
Yeah, there's some
that
really
was a
nice
cool
techniques
scene
here.
from the show too. So
Next up, in 1st place, we
I wanna know what
have
it is.
Brendan with his Kansas City Bridge. I can't
No
say
way.
I was that surprised.
Yeah, I was not surprised either.
yeah,
I
I'm
think
honored. Thank you.
I think Brendan is probably the best mock builder here out of all of us. So I think it'll be, if we do another one of these, I think it will be hard to beat Brendan again. With that is all of our results. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let us know what you think the best mock was in the comment section down below. See the pinned comment to vote on the poll yourself, and you can see how the entire audience reacts. If you guys care, we can update you on the rankings at some future undetermined point in time. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you guys all next time, possibly. Yeah, goodbye.
Peace.
Bye.
so yeah.
Jeez.